A very effective lesson that I have seen was done at a French language B class. In this class, the teacher had organized the lesson using the flipped classroom strategy. Basically, she had assigned a reading on the use of nuclear energy in France. Students had to read the text at home and answer some questions on the reading. When students came to class, the teacher discussed with them the questions orally and checked if students had properly understood the text and if there were some sections of the text that they were not understanding. During the discussion, students were expected to be active learners and ask for clarification regarding vocabulary or passages in the text they did not understand. Then, students organized a small debate where they had to defend whether they supported the use of nuclear energy or if they were against it. This was a very successful and efficient lesson plan. However, for the flipped classroom to work, you need to have students that are responsible for their learning. Also, you need to have students who have an advanced command of the language that are able to express themselves comfortably in the target language. Another effective lesson that I saw was in a Spanish class where students made an oral presentation about a traditional dish from their own country. Students had been learning throughout the unit vocabulary related to the food and how to use the imperative to give commands. Students were working in groups of two or three and were explaining the ingredients of the recipe and how to prepare it. Students who were taking other Spanish courses were also invited to come and ask questions on the different dishes that were presented. After listening to the presentation, they were welcome to try the dish. This was a very effective lesson plan since there was a lot of engagement not only from the students in the class, but also from other students who were walking in to learn about different dishes. The teacher did a great job in getting her students into talking to an audience of Spanish listeners. My own experience is that a unit is always better planned when using backward design. When I set the objectives and assessments first, I can prepare my lesson plans keeping in mind the objectives and standards that I want my students to meet. The challenge in backward design is always time. For example, when I am teaching a unit with a colleague, because of our schedule, sometimes it is difficult for us to find time to meet and plan accordingly. Nonetheless, I always plan my lesson plans keeping in mind what objectives I want my students to meet at the end of the unit. At ICS, classes are particularly long, 85 minutes. A class this long can become endless and boring for students. Thus, the key to success is to offer a variety of different activities that also allow for differentiation. For instance, I like to start the class using a visual presentation to provide the students with the input they need. Then, students complete activities so they can demonstrate they are understanding the concept I taught. Finally, students do an activity where they take charge and I act as a facilitator. These activities can be a reading or a writing related to the topic they have learned. In a good lesson plan, I always need to leave room for improvisation because sometimes students may require extra amount of time and practice to understand a concept. Finally, in a good lesson plan, it is always important to incorporate previously taught concepts that will enable students to make connections between what they have learned and what they are about to learn.